Good morning. Thank you for tuning in to Prosper in Life with Tim Felicia. This morning, my guest is a gentleman by the name of Thomas Blackwell. Thomas, he's the CEO and the founder of Say, Do, Achieve. And the vision of Say, Do, Achieve is to improve the language and mindset of more than 1 billion people worldwide through his authorship, his inspirational talks, and his workshops that Thomas gives. He's a peak performance coaching. He's spoken to people all over the world, corporations, executives, entrepreneurs, sales teams, athletes, religious groups, students. Lots of people like to listen to Thomas. Thomas does a private coaching as well, and he is actually one of my coaches, and I think the world of him. Thomas attended Northern Arizona University. Actually, he was a vocal scholarship student there, but he also played tennis and soccer while he was there, and did some coaching at that Division I level. So Thomas and I know each other for quite a while. My daughter went to school with Thomas, so that's really aging me. But my daughter always thought that Thomas was one of the coolest people. And Thomas, I know, knows that my daughter was one of the coolest, still is one of the coolest people. Very funny young lady. But Thomas and I got to spend some time together years ago when I had a musical group that did quite a bit of performing. And Thomas, because of his love for music, became involved with what we were trying to do and helped produce some of our shows, and was super encouraging to what we were trying to accomplish all those years ago. Thomas actually recruited me for his business. He had a very, very successful insurance business, and I was a little too busy with music at the time, but today I'm working in that business. So pretty funny how things go over the years. Thomas is here to talk to us about his book and about what he has done with his life over the last, probably 30 years, I suppose. I hate to think we're the age we are, Thomas. I still think of you as a high school kid. But he has a beautiful family, beautiful daughters, an incredible wife. And I'm going to turn some time here to Thomas to tell us a little bit about his background, his family, and his business background before we get started too deep here. Go ahead, Thomas.
Tim, it's a pleasure and honor to be with you here today. Thanks for thinking of me. We've had a connection for so many years, and of course, went to school with your oldest daughter there, and she's a gem, as you know. And the moment that we were introduced, probably at your house or somewhere, I just felt a connection with you, and so it's just been something unique, more than others. And I think it relates. Back when I was about 7, my father returned to heaven, and I think some characteristic traits that you remind me of him, even way back there. And so I just felt like a kinship there. So it's just been fun to stay connected all these years, and really appreciate all you've done for the world. We've married my high school sweetheart, and we have 4 daughters, and I love my daughters. I could have 10 daughters and be good. And I've had the opportunity to travel the world and speak to people, and sometimes they listen. Tim, it's great. But but it's this is a path that I'm on right now that I didn't know was even a path. I didn't, and I can honestly say it chose me. I did not choose it because I didn't even know it was a vocation. But also I recognize that all the things that I have experienced in my life qualified me for the next step. I often say, if I can go back and talk to my 20-year-old self, because I used to say something, Tim. I used to say, things are going great, but I'm not where I want to be. You know what I mean? I think I instilled and incorporated that, maybe perhaps adopted that language from others, that's what I was supposed to say, is things are great, but I'm not where I'm supposed to be. Well, that was false. If I could go back and talk to my younger self, I would say, Thomas, you're exactly where you're supposed to be. In fact, everything that you're experiencing now is literally qualifying you for your next opportunities. And if you remove those from your life, you're literally not qualified. So that's been my path, and I can say honestly, has been your path too, Tim, and everything that you have done to make this world a better place, which is, I have a whole list of things that I know that you've done to make the world a better place, have qualified you for the wisdom and what you're doing now, and being able to share your gifts and talents through this podcast and this movement. So it's so fun to see how the puzzle comes together, not right in front of us where we're a little bit blindsided, but as we step back and we can see the big picture, just what a blessing life is, that everyone is exactly where they're supposed to be. So cherish it and recognize you need it to qualify for your next level.
Yeah, that's really true. That's really true. Well, Thomas, years ago when I had my group and we were doing a lot of performing, and you were coming and you were supporting us. I remember a show we were doing. This was in Mesa, Arizona. We were doing a show at the community center there. I think it's the community center.
Mesa Arts
Special
Center.
events. Mesa Arts Center.
Yeah.
And I remember you got up and you were filling a little time for us. I don't know if we had a technical problem or what it was, but you were filling a little time for us. And you told a great story. And during that story, my cast of my kids, who, it's like herding cats trying to keep them all ready for a show, just pre-show it all. And they were just mesmerized by your story on stage. And then that was the story where you were kicking your hip. Do you remember that story?
Oh, I was kicking my hip.
You were kicking your hip, you go boom.
Oh.
Do you remember that story?
Yeah, but I do a bit. Well, I think I was poking at the caliber of kids that you attract into light in your singing group is just such high caliber. And I think I was saying I tried out for light, but I didn't. You said I was too qualified, and I was overqualified, and I was sort of poking at myself and trying to show some moves up there, I guess.
Well, I tell you at that point you had our entire cast on board with Thomas Blackwell, and they have followed you all these years. It's been a number of years since then, and I'll have them, as I communicate with that former cast. They'll mention that they'll see something on YouTube or that they've seen you or something, and they're always excited for that. So I appreciate that very much, how you affected all those kids. A few years ago, you wrote a book, and this book has really affected a lot of people. It affected me, and it affected each member of my family. I don't know if I'm your, well, I'm sure I'm not, but I was going to say I'm probably not the biggest buyer of your books, but we've bought a few from you. And the reason is, whenever I meet someone that I think the world of, I buy a book, one of your books, and give to them. Or if I meet someone and I think, oh, you need to know Thomas, then I'll pass that along. And so one of my mentors is a really successful entrepreneur, and I sent him your book. This is Jeff Lerner. I sent Jeff your book, and Jeff calls back and he says, I know Thomas. I've been on stage with Thomas, which I wasn't aware of. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your book? And I know people are going to want to get a copy of it. And what I'll do is I'll put under this podcast, I'll give people that address, but you can also give that address as well. Your website's really easy to find. But tell us a little bit about your book and the purpose of it, Thomas.
Yeah, thanks, Tim. You've been very generous too in the support of that movement, so I certainly appreciate it. yeah, so over 10 years ago, I started writing this book called The Liberty of Our Language Revealed. We bring about what we talk about. And it all came about really because I kept getting asked to speak and putting into a vocation I didn't know was a vocation as a public speaker and that sort of thing. But as in my insurance business, we had some success, and we struggled for a couple of years, I think, as many people do. And when I say struggle, we're just learning the ropes and really find if I can handle it, and not just that, but a lot of people getting to not quit. Well, I was at the point of almost quitting, Tim, and I went to the leader. I said, "Hey, I'm out. I put 2 years into this thing." And he said, "Oh, you can quit, Thomas, but the only way you fail is if you quit." And I thought, "No, why you got to say that to me? I'm a competitive guy." He put it right back on my shoulders where it belonged. The only way you fail is if you quit. And oftentimes we're pointing fingers at other things, we're blaming situations, and not taking responsibility. And ultimately, we're responsible for our own success. And so I made a decision and to go for it. And Ralph Waldo Emerson said it best I've heard. He said, when a decision is made, the universe conspires to make it happen. And as I've shared, staged it with other people, Steve Harvey is one of them. Steve told me personally, we were speaking in Washington, D.C. together, and he said that, Thomas, most people don't get what they want because they just haven't decided yet. Well, I'd recognize I hadn't fully decided to go for it. I was toe dipping. I was putting one foot in and saying, "Oh, maybe that's cold. You jump in and see if you drown, then I'll think about it." But I decided to decide and go for it, get the right mentorship. So we had a big turn of events from almost quitting and after 2 years, and then had a big jump from like 2 figures to 6 figures. Literally, I made $87 one month, and then next 4 months we made $124,000. And now it's not all the money in the world, but it was a big deal for us. And then we doubled that income over the course of 5 years. And then, so now I had a multi 7-figure business in my mid 20s, and then the company caught wind of that, and they wanted to put me on a stage. Every year they did an annual convention. At this time, there's over 10,000 people there, and now there's probably over 20,000. But at that time, in the MGM Grand in Las Vegas, they said, "Here's a kid that went from $87 to $124,000 in 4 months. Get on up here and tell your story." And I said, "You just told my story, right?" But anyways, from that 7 minutes they gave me 7 grandiose minutes, and there's 10,000 people in that room. I kept getting these calls, Tim, for people said, "Hey, Thomas, can you come out to Chicago, Illinois, and tell us your story? Can you come out to New York and train our people? Can you come out to Alberta, Canada, and speak to our people and tell us how you did that?" And so 2-3 times a month, I was on a plane just speaking to groups and really telling them how to make a decision. And eventually people started saying, "This is what you need to do, Thomas. You need to go speak." And I said, "Well, that's not a job. How will I support my family?" But turns out it is. And they said, "Well, if you're going to do that, you gotta write a book." And people say, what's your message?" And I found out my common theme was our language, Tim. I found out that I was constantly talking about we bring about what we talk about, that when a person changes their language, they'll change their results. And so I have, over the course of 8 years, I literally interviewed, over 500 potential agents. I mean, we had 3 offices, 3 different cities, and just constantly. And I would get to a point in 60 seconds or less, I could tell people if they're going to make it or not, because I have a thing called the BS radar. Now, Tim, I know you have this too. It's a BS radar, and I can tell people's BS literally in 60 seconds. And now BS, I'm just going to clarify because some people might be thinking that's something else, what it stands for, but BS stands for your belief system. And I can tell a person's belief system just by how they talk. And so inside of that, I would interview them and say, "You're going to make it here because I can tell you talk, or you're not going to make it here." And even in athletics, I could tell who's going to win or who wasn't by how they spoke. And so I became really intrigued about the power of our words. And so I wrote this book. Like I said, it took me 10 years to write this thing, Liberty of Our Language Revealed, but I'm grateful because had I just written it in a year, it would not be the book it is. And I was tempted to just get it done in 12 months. But by doing it over the course of time, there's really a divine guidance on it. A lot of the experiences that I had in those 10 years are in the book. And had I not had them, I couldn't write about them. So I trusted the process. And that's a key thing for anybody in any business or any situation, relationship, is to trust the process. Trust is it's higher than love, even, right? To be trusted. To be loved is commonplace, I think, but to be trusted is in an exalted league of its own. And so trusting the process, trusting the divine, and how things would shake out. So 2018, the book, I finished it. And we, in 2019, literally traveled around the world speaking about it, because the vision is to significantly improve the language and mindset of more than 1 billion people worldwide. And because it has that vision, it's like it had to happen. See, oftentimes people wonder why they're not going in a certain direction. Well, they don't have a vision, Tim, right? Where are you going? And it just, so when you have a vision with things are going to happen that way. So in 2019, literally spoke in 12 countries in 12 months on 5 continents. And it's absolutely humbling and inspiring. You know, I've given this message to the general and his colonels in Buenos Aires, Argentina. So I speak Spanish. I lived in Colombia for a couple of years. And so I've done this in Spanish, English, the book's in Spanish. Now it's being translated into Vietnamese. I've spoken in Vietnam 6 times. They just contacted me again this week. We're doing another thing now that they're open again. They're in October. So it's just been so humbling and inspiring to see where this has gone. So I'm just along for the ride. I'm in multiple cities every week now. Tomorrow I'll fly to Dallas, Texas and speak there. And I'll be in North Carolina the day after that. I was in 2 cities last week. So it's just, I'm along for the ride. I've just become a messenger to this message. And it's the instantaneousness of the change when people apply it, Tim. And this is why I know you've seen results too, is phenomenal. See, when a person, I didn't set out to prove this necessarily, but over the time it did get proven that we bring about what we talk about. It's literally proven physically, it's proven emotionally, it's proven scientifically, neurologically, and at the highest level spiritually, that when a person changes their language, they will change their results. They will change their entire environment, and they will change their life. And so that's where we're at right now. We're along for the ride.
That is amazing. It is so amazing what you have done with so many people. It's interesting that you're talking about Vietnam. One of the groups that I do some work with just signed a big contract doing some consulting with Vietnam as well, which is neat to see that there is a nation that for so many years have been pretty repressed. And it's interesting and exciting to see that they're moving forward and they're doing things by inviting yourself and this company that I do work with, a company by the name of Entra, that they're moving forward. And it emphasizes that there's so much good going on in our world. And I know that's what you're trying to accomplish. And one of the reasons I wanted you on today is because you truly bring your light into the world. The term to prosper in light, as I had mentioned to you earlier, Thomas, this is my thought process of when people bring joy and do positive things, they have figured out what their purpose is, what their calling is. And when I watch what you're doing and I hear about the things that you're accomplishing, it's more than Thomas accomplishing those things. And I think that's what you just said to us. You're there, you're available for things to take place. It's not that you don't have direction, you have keen direction. And because of that direction, then the good Lord can use you to do amazing things in this world and to affect a lot of his children. Thank you so much, Thomas, for what you're doing.
My pleasure.
At another time, I'll have Thomas back on, I hope, if we can work that out. I would love Thomas to tell the stories of what he and his family do. Thomas lives in the United States. That's probably about as much as we're going to pin that down. He's more or less from Arizona, but Thomas lives pretty much everywhere. And I would love sometime to tell the story of how you and your family decided to completely appreciate this nation
Yeah.
and learn. Would that be something we could do in the future?
Yeah. And I could give people a taste for in 60 seconds if you want.
Yeah, dude.
You know, about 5.5 years ago, we decided to cruise this beautiful country in Canada because you just didn't know when we homeschool our kids, Tim. So that was easy for us. We packed up all our things, sold up a lot of it in Virginia, and then we went across the country, coast to coast, a couple times, Canada, and lived in vacation homes. We decided to do that for 12 months and visit all the national parks and other areas of interest. And so we did it. After 12 months, United States and Canada, this confirmed what we knew, that people are beautiful everywhere. Like if your perception of people of any state or country is what you see on TV or the media, you're going to be misguided.
Yeah.
And so it was just such a beautiful thing. Everywhere we went, people are absolutely amazing. It confirmed what we knew already and validated it. And not that we were looking for that, but after that 12 months, we stopped somewhere in South Carolina, Greenville, and we just felt like, divine God was saying, not now, just keep going, not yet type thing. Well, it's been not yet stopped for 5.5 years. So we've literally lived in 96 places in 5.5 years. I'm in Northwest Georgia right now. We'll be here another month. And then what's fun about that is we don't know where we're going after this, but God knows, so he'll tell us. But that's, along with my profession, as long as I'm by an airport, I can live anywhere. And it's just that's what we're doing. We've learned a ton and I finished the book on this adventure and on a little plastic table in the corner of a beach house. And so you can accomplish a lot of things. And it's just been beautiful. So lots of stories with that. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, Thomas, thank you so much for being with us. Thomas, you have a saying that you share with everyone constantly. And as we close today, you want to share your saying. It does come from the scriptures, but you use it constantly. We use it in our home. And I'd like for you to close us out today with that wonderful saying. Would you please?
Of course. Thank you. In Romans 8:28, it says, all things work together for good to them that love God. And so in our family, every morning we repeat this in a way that we adjusted it to everything always works out for our good because we love God. Everything works out. Everything's working for us and for our favor. Literally, if you call my voice message, if you call my phone and got my voice message, that's what you'd hear. It said, I'm excited to talk to you. And by the way, everything always works out for our good. So we live by that, Tim. We'd love to stay in contact with the people that you're touching out there. So I appreciate you doing that. They can just go to my website, real simple, thomasblackwellspeak.com. You can search on any search engine, Thomas Blackwell, and it should be up there towards the top. But thomasblackwellspeak.com. I'd love to support anybody that way. If they want a book or my free
they can get your book right at your site, correct?
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, I'll put that up here on the podcast. So, Thomas, thank you so much. Look forward to talking to you soon. Actually, I will talk to you Monday.
Sounds good. See you then.
Okay.
Thanks,
Bye.
Tim.